I recently made a video looking at 50 different board games and ranking them on the basis of their box covers. And we chose the bottom 50 of the Board Game Geek top 100 games. Arbitrary choice of games really, but I thought then we could pick apart these box covers, look at the promises they make to us, and do they deliver? Do they make it look exciting? Do they sell the game? That's what a great box cover should do, shouldn't it? It should tell us what we're doing in the game, and even more importantly, how we're going to feel. I'm Adam Porter, I'm a board game designer and board game reviewer. You've probably watched some of my other videos on this channel, I hope. If you haven't, please go back and watch them, there's loads on there. Please subscribe if you enjoy the video, and comment, let me know what you think of what I'm saying here. I'm probably going to be a little bit irreverent, a little bit disrespectful about some of your favourite games. I'm sorry. It's only the box cover, I haven't played a lot of these games. I've played about 50% of the Board Game Geek top 100. So let's get stuck straight in and look at number 50, which is Power Grid. I find it hard with this one because it's such an iconic cover, and I really like it. Like, it's stylishly drawn, but do they? I mean, how boring do they want to make this look? You know, I like the green. The use of green in this one's good. I've moaned about green games in the previous list. This is a nice use of green. But we've got our avatar here. Our in-game persona is this man with the clipboard, turning a dial and looking bored with a shirt and tie. That's not what the game's about. The game is all about money, making loads of money and exciting deals and auctions and all that sort of stuff. There was an alternative cover I've got in my collection actually, which was for Power Grid Deluxe. I mean, this one's even worse, frankly. I don't like this one at all. This is like Homer Simpson, isn't it? Just a man asleep in a power plant. It should be telling us how we feel. It shouldn't be so literal, okay? I'm not going for it. We'll rate the first one. We'll ignore this second one. We'll rate the first one, and I'm calling that one a B tier. And I'm allowing it B rather than a D tier because it's iconic, yeah? It is at least a really eye-catching sort of design. It's a classic. It's a classic. Right, number 49, Zulkin, the Mayan calendar. Yeah, I like this one actually. I do quite like this one. The guy holding up the skull there, it's quite striking. Not quite sure what I'm doing, although we've got that dial in the background which kind of hints at what goes on in the game. I think maybe more could have been made with the dials, because that's your big selling point in this game, isn't it? Those turning cogs. Maybe we wanted to see a little bit more about that. A lot of it's about time, this game. Nonetheless, it's a strong, striking box cover. I'm going to call this one a B tier. Next up then is Anachrony. I don't know what Anachrony is about. No, I don't, I don't know anything about it. What does this cover tell me? Nothing. Really? It's white, it's got a symbol on it. I'm getting nothing. I'm getting nothing from it. It's utterly forgettable. I'm going D tier. I don't even know what it is. The box cover should at least tell me what I'm going to be doing in the game. The Crew, the Quest for Planet 9. I loved the earlier Crew game. We talked about the Crew Deep Sea one on the previous list. But this one at number 47, don't like it quite as much. They're going for the same thing. I guess this was the first one, wasn't it? That black outline with a lighter blue in the middle. And so I suppose it's quite nice that the two kind of have a similar feel, even though one's underwater and one's up in space. But I think the space theme is less intriguing than the underwater theme. And actually, I think it's more nicely drawn, the previous one. This one I'm going C tier, C tier. I think it's a bit boring, really. Number 46, Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition. Fantasy Flight are just great at these covers. I mean, I really sang their praises in the previous video. I'm not even a Fantasy Flight fan. I don't like many of their games. And I don't like Mansions of Madness, but this cover is great. It's great. I remember before I got into board games, the modern board game sort of hobby, I went into the board game shop for the first time ever going into a board game shop. And Mansions of Madness was the one I pulled off the shelf, and that was the 1st edition. But the cover was just so enticing, you know, just this sort of haunted house. So yeah, this is really good. S tier. I like this. Spooky old house, Mansions of Madness. Pax Pamir, 2nd edition. Written in a font that I can barely read, on this dark purple. Don't know what it's all about from the cover. Tells me nothing. It's like Anachrony. I'm getting nothing from it. It's stylish, but Why would I look at this? I don't even know what it is. Sorry. No, this is a D tier. D tier for PAX Premier. Number 44. Pandemic Legacy Season 2, and I was very impressed with Pandemic Legacy Season 0's artwork in the previous list. So let's have a look at Pandemic Legacy Season 2. Again, I really like the composition of it. I like the I like the avatars on here, the masks, and it almost looks post-apocalyptic. Is it post-apocalyptic? I don't know. That's kind of what I'm getting from it, with the almost steampunky, the goggles and all that stuff going on there. I like the horizontal box and the warships and all of that. Again, it looks very much like a film, like a movie poster. Really good. I don't think it's quite as good as the Pandemic Legacy Season 0 box, but nonetheless, I think this is still an S tier. Really, really top-notch stuff. Pandemic does great box covers. Okay, next up then at number 43 is Underwater Cities, which is a great title, right? Underwater Cities, fantastic title, fantastic theme. And the box cover's not great, is it? Really? I'm not even sure what I'm looking at. Is that a person? No, it's not a person, is it? It's a submarine. And then we've got a couple of swimmers down there. I prefer the box cover to the crew, that underwater crew one. This looks half-assed, really. I'm going C tier for Underwater Cities. Next up then, Maracaibo. Okay, yeah. I mean, there's a bit of adventuring, is there, into a forest? And there's a ship on the sea at the top there. But really, it's mainly that title takes up the whole thing. So if you don't know what Maracaibo means, then you're not getting much from it. C tier. Yeah, C tier for Maracaibo. I'm not too impressed with that one. Agricola. Again, we've already talked about Agricola previously, and I don't think this is much different to the... Yeah, it's very similar to the revised edition that we talked about previously, just with slightly... I think they redid the artwork to give it a bit more depth or something like that in the revised edition. We've got the same framing issues that we had. I don't know what I gave it last time, but this time it's annoying me, so I'm giving it a D tier this time. Okay, number 40. Barrage. Don't know what this is. Who's it by? Barrage? Nope, still can't read. Oh, Simone Luciani again. I mean, it's very grey, isn't it? The lightning gives it a little bit of spice to it, and there's some biplanes in the background there. But you've really got to look close to spot all that stuff. It all looks a little bit industrial. I mean, it's beautifully drawn and the composition's nice, but it's not really intriguing me. It looks a bit dull. And I'm sure the game isn't, but it looks a bit dull. So I'm going to go C, maybe a B, because it is beautifully drawn. No, it's C. It doesn't tell me what I'm doing or how I'm going to feel playing the game. It's C tier. Too Many Bones, a dice builder RPG with this weird little goblin-y character at the bottom there. I don't know what this, you can see here. I'm not that well up on many of these hot games, am I? Don't like the composition. Don't like the... I mean, it just looks like a generic fantasy, doesn't it? Is it underwater? Is that what's going on here? I don't know. I don't think it's very good. The box cover there. I'll go C tier for Too Many Bones, a dice builder RPG. Blood Rage at number 38. I think this is a great box cover. This is not a cover that would appeal to me, okay? I'm not drawn in to play hugely violent games full of Vikings, but that's what this game says: rage and violence and blood like no other. Okay, we got the flames, we got the Viking running out there with his axe, he's ready to slice us. And we've got the skull up there covered in blood right in the center and swords crossed. A stunning, stunning cover. This has got to have helped sales, surely. This is S tier. This is fantastic stuff. But it's not going to make me play the game. Whereas the next one, I've actually just ordered my copy, so this is obviously working for me. Ark Nova. I like the green, I like the blue, I think it's very striking. I like that sort of pattern, that artwork, that modern sort of look. Strange that, you know, this has got photorealistic or photographic indeed artwork on it. I think these are photographs on the cover, these aren't paintings. I know in the game that it's photographs all the way, and that doesn't really appeal to me. I'd much rather have drawings, but the composition of it is lovely. In this sort of globe, it all looks very futuristic and modern, and I think this box is, yeah, it's intriguing. It draws me right in. I think it's lovely. I think this is a A tier. Number 36 is Marvel Champions, the card game. This could be any Marvel game. We've got Spider-Man at the center and Captain America, and that's about as many as I could name. But nonetheless, oh, there's Thanos in the background. I know Thanos. Black Panther, is that there? Maybe is that an Iron Man? I do know a few of them. It's good. It's dynamic. It you know, doesn't really tell us what we're going to be doing aside from that this is a game about Marvel people, Marvel champions, presumably. So I've no idea what I'm actually doing in the game, but it's beautifully drawn. I guess you need to, once you're making Marvel games, and the same with Star Wars games and Lord of the Rings games, you start to need to differentiate one product from another. And I'm not sure it's managing that. So I'm going to call it B tier. B tier. Probably unfair because I was really full of praise for Imperial Assault, wasn't I, previously? Right, next up, number 35, Caverna, the Cave Farmers. Well, this is a reworking of Agricola, isn't it, this game? And they've gone for the same framing, but now with brown instead of that dull orange. So I don't like that, the brown. I do like that we've zoomed in a bit, okay? Because I think a lot of those Uwe Rosenberg Lookout games are too zoomed out. So we've zoomed in and we've now got our avatar, this female dwarf, I think she is, and the donkey up at the centre. Not particularly exciting though, is it? The only emotion on this cover are the sheep and the donkey. They're grinning at us, whereas the woman who's making the food, she doesn't look very interested, does she? Again, I want to be the donkey, I want to be the sheep if I'm playing this game. You don't get to be them, I've played it. Good game, not a great cover. Okay, next up is number 34, Puerto Rico Proper old school box here, an Alia box. Oh, these boxes were a mess, weren't they? And they're still producing them in this format. What is going on with this framing there? I mean, the Ravensburger slash at the bottom there doesn't particularly help, but at least that's iconic and it's a mark of quality. But for some reason, they've then pushed the picture off center, and I'm not even sure what that picture is. It's kind of cut off. We've got is that a finger on the left? I don't even know what it's holding. Presumably the image is on the side of the box. Why? Why is it on the side? Why not on the front? Why not on both? Puerto Rico off center in this odd font, tiny little writing saying Andreas Seyfarth, and then this odd textured background. It's horrendous, isn't it? This is D tier. This is terrible. Terrible stuff. Food chain magnate. Well, in some ways I think this is how you do it. Okay, it's retro. Modern way to old-fashioned good gaming. Right, yeah, wear that heart on their sleeve. Does what it says on the tin. Old-fashioned good gaming with old-fashioned good artwork, but it's well-drawn, nice choice of colours. The theme is right there, okay, with fast food, running a chain. We've got the woman looking us in the eye. Great. And the man at the bottom there, even though he's a little cartoon character, he's looking us in the eye as well. They're smiling, they're enjoying themselves. Even the pizza is enjoying itself. Pizza or pie, I don't know. Nonetheless, I think this is a quality box cover. Striking, stands out, original, nicely drawn. Controversial to say S tier, wouldn't it? I'm going for it, it's an S tier for the food chain magnate. Okay, next up, Lost Ruins of Arnak at number 32. There's something a little retro about this as well. It looks like an old adventure style comic or picture book or something like that, but it's really detailed. The composition's lovely, the way that we've got the framing of all those branches and vines, and then it draws us into our avatars in the center, and they're having fun. This is not like Kalis looking boring dude on the front cover. These guys look like they're having an amazing time. We've got a nice bit of diversity on the cover, which is really, really good. We've got some intriguing looking buildings that look a bit like dragons and things in the background. I like it. So I'm going to go A tier for Lost Ruins of Arnak. Now, we've previously talked about Eclipse in its previous edition, because that was lower down on the list. This is the second edition for Eclipse, and they've kept some of the stuff that I like about it. They've kept the nice typeface with the sort of slash in the middle, the solar flare. We've got, again, that arc of the sun behind a moon or a planet. You know, everything says Eclipse. I've lost the sense of who we are or what we're doing, though. I mean, no longer do I know whether we're talking, is this a game about the cosmos and planets, or is this a game about spaceships, or is this a game about space battles? Who are we, and what are we supposed to feel? Yes, this is more beautiful and more striking, perhaps, but it doesn't really tell any sort of story. This could be any sort of sci-fi game, or even not a sci-fi game. It could be an abstract game. So, although it's beautiful, it's not quite doing it for me. So I'm going to go C tier for Eclipse Second Dawn for the Galaxy. Mage Knight, the board game. Well, I said I wanted an avatar. Here we got it. You know exactly who you are in this cover, don't you? I like the orange colour. I like the dynamic figures in the background and monsters. It looks exciting, full of battle. I'm going to go A tier for Mage Knight, the board game. Probably not a game I'll ever play, but I do think the cover sells it well. We've talked about a previous edition of Clank, but number 29, we've got Clank Legacy Acquisitions Incorporated. And I don't like this cover half as much as the first one. Why is it so cartoony? I haven't played the game, I don't know. The first one wasn't this cartoony, I'm sure it wasn't. We've suddenly gone into a very Nickelodeon sort of style, and that's not what I'm expecting from a Legacy version of Clank. This almost looks like Clank Junior or something like that. I've lost who my avatar is, I don't know who I am anymore. Who are the baddies and who are the goodies? And what are we doing? In that first cover, we're stealing gold from a dragon. It's very clear. I don't know what we're doing in this cover. Yeah, I don't like it. No. C tier for Clank Legacy Acquisitions Incorporated. Okay, we're at number 28, and it's another Clemens Franz bit of artwork, this time from DLP Games, but they've gone for the same sort of styling as Lookout Spieler here. Some strange artwork, strange proportions on these figures. It does look quite striking. I don't know, I can't get over the sort of naivety of the drawing. I really like Clemens Franz's art style in a way, but this is not really filling me with confidence. Everything looks a little bit wonky and out of proportion. I'm going to go C tier for Orléans. Well, this is how you do it, isn't it? Everdell. Beautiful. Beautiful composition, the colours, you don't need to make a big deal about the fact that we're woodland creatures, but they're big enough. They draw your eyes drawn to them by the colours and the composition. We're straight in on that badger. Oh, I want to be that badger. Or I want to be that little squirrel carrying the fruits, or even the little mouse. I want to be one of the butterflies. I don't know. It's just beautiful. I mean, it gives you that red wall feel, that wind in the willows feel. You know what you're getting, and the game delivers on it. This is S tier for Everdell. Viticulture Essential Edition. This is an interesting one because the previous Viticulture had exactly the same cover but didn't have the people on it. And then in this Essential Edition, they realised, I think, that we needed to have an avatar. We needed to have an in-game persona on the cover to show us what we're going to be doing, how we're going to feel. And who doesn't want to be like these beautiful Italian pair there with their grapes making wine in this beautiful idyllic landscape? I like it, and I like the composition of it. So I'm going to go B tier for Viticulture Essential Edition. Next up then is Root at number 25. And this is a tricky one to judge, isn't it? Because it's so weird. I mean, you could look at this and think you're going to be playing a kid's game, couldn't you? For sure. And you're not. You're going to be playing a war game. I believe I haven't played it. An asymmetric battle game. I think it's really striking. I think it's really bold. I think it's got all the brand assets of this particular publisher. Their games all look like this. This particular designer, in fact, their games all look like this. And I think there's something quite beautiful about it. It's a similar world to what we talked about with Everdell, isn't it? But with so much more of an anarchic sort of stylings to it. I think it's great. It's so striking. I'm going to give it S tier. S tier for Root. There's so much wrong that it's right. Yeah? It breaks so many rules that it just stands out for me. So next up at number 24, Arkham Horror, the card game. And I've not got to say much about this because I love it. It's the same as Eldritch Horror, and you know, just Fantasy Flight does this stuff well. People with guns at the centre and tentacles and bats in the background. It's intriguing, it looks horrible and action-packed, and I will never play it because I don't really like Cthulhu. But if I did like Cthulhu, I'd be thinking, yeah, this looks great. This looks exciting. Yeah, I think it's really good. S tier for Arkham Horror, the card game. Number 23, Wingspan. S tier. Okay. Just gorgeous. Gorgeous and iconic. Beautiful. Beautiful artwork. But this particular image is just gorgeous. I talked previously about the game Cascadia, which was illustrated by Beth Sobel, and how I liked the artwork, but everything seemed off-center and I wasn't clear who I was or how I was supposed to feel about it. This is clear. This is a game about birds. Birds, birds, birds. That's all it is. And it's just, the composition of this is lovely. It's almost like a star on that blue background, and the red really pops. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. S tier, Wingspan. Right, next up, A Feast for Odin from Z-Man Games, an Uwe Rosenberg game with Clemens Franz artwork again. I believe, is it Clemens Franz artwork? No, it's not. It's Dennis Lohausen. Well, I didn't know that. A Feast for Odin, Dennis Lohausen artwork, and really beautiful, really beautiful. I've been critical of some of Dennis Lohausen's artwork on these lists so far, but this is stunning. And I do like a board game cover where it's in the first person, where it's me holding that horn full of beer or whatever it is, ale. You know, that's presumably my hand. I haven't seen that on many board game covers. What was the other one? Mombasa, I talked about earlier, where there was a hand there holding a pen shaped like a feather, and it was clear that's my hand. I like that. It tells me I'm going to be a Viking, and all the other Vikings are saying cheers to me as they lift up their horns as well. Nice composition. It's a bit busy. I love it. Makes me want to play the game. Yeah, really good. A tier for A Feast for Odin. Next on the list is number 21, Terra Mystica. Yeah, this isn't so good. This is getting a little bit old school. It's all border. It's all border rather than the actual content. I mean, what's going on in the content? Is that a dwarf? We've got a bunch of different sort of terrains. But I mean, you only know they're terrains because you know, because I know what Terra Mystica is. I mean, they're just like blobs in this sort of circle there. I think that's really uninspired. Not a huge fan of that cover at all. So I'm going to give that one D tier, Terra Mystica. Don't like that cover. Okay, number 20, and this is an interesting one because it's a beautiful image, and yet it's so dark. I mean, you've got to think about how these things are going to look on a phone. If you really zoom in, you know, if you really go small, this is going to look like a smudge. But actually, when you blow it up, Brass Lancashire, really moody, isn't it? Really tells you how you're going to feel this man with his... What's he doing? What's he got in his hand? He's got this little industrial contraption in his hand. He looks so sort of classy with his pipe and his top hat and all that smoke and the red coming. I mean, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if it'll catch the eye because it's so dark, but it is gorgeous. S tier. I'm calling it S tier. Don't care that you're not going to be able to see it on your phone. Stunning. Stunning. Makes me want to play it. I've never played Brass. I should. I think I'd like it. Number 19, Concordia. It's not great, is it? It's not great. Oh, this is the new Concordia cover. What was the previous one? Let me see if I can find an earlier version. Wow. I mean, they've sort of improved it, haven't they? At least we know who we are. We are this woman, and she's buying stuff. That's it. I don't know. There's a soldier in the background. I don't know what this is all about. It's not doing it for me, this one. Not really. It's not very exciting. I'm calling this one C tier. I don't know what that's about. I've played Concordia and I still don't know what that's all about. Next up then is Seven Wonders Duel. Seven Wonders was one of my favourite on the top 50 of the bottom 50 rather, of the top 100 was one of my favourite box covers. And actually this is great because it does all the same stuff. It's got those wonders around there, the pyramids and the big statue and all that, but it's also got this clear two people back to back. They're about to go into a duel. That tells us what we're going to be doing and how we're going to feel. Tells us there's warfare in this. But it's not just about that. It's also about the science and technology and building and all those sort of things. Really nicely framed and put together. Gorgeous artwork. I think this is stunning. Yep, Seven Wonders Duel. I'm going S tier. S tier. I'm sure these covers are a big part of the reason Seven Wonders is as popular as it is. Number 17, Nemesis. Yeah, this is great, isn't it? A horrible sort of alien themed game with that big alien there. Looks like the alien from the film. They're just treading that fine line where they're getting away with it. And then we're presumably the spaceman at the bottom there about to get eaten. Again, it's dark, but it's got enough highlights in it that it works for me. Yeah, I'm going S tier. This is a good looking cover. S tier. Probably a game I'll never play. Number 16, The Castles of Burgundy. This is an unfortunate one, isn't it? It's got that horrible Ravensburger Alia cover again with the off-center image of a person looking at a landscape and a castle. It's a charming enough image, but it's just completely swamped by that purple colour or off-red mahogany colour, and then the tiny little Steffenfeld scrawled at the top. Pretty poor. And then the remake of it, that wasn't particularly good either. It told me nothing at all about the game. And then we see that there's a new version coming, again, another new version, and this one actually looks quite nice. Just in terms of the composition, the brightness and the colours, it looks modern. It looks like a game that you would buy today. You know, why are publishers still producing those old versions? This is what a board game looks like today. So, I mean, the previous version, that horrible purple version, that's a D tier. This new version, that's a B tier. The one coming up, yeah. Because it doesn't really tell us what we're doing, but it is beautifully drawn. Okay, moving on. Dune Imperium. I have nothing to say about this. The same as with that second edition of Eclipse. We've just got some planets. It doesn't tell me anything else. I've not seen Dune, I've not read Dune, so I don't know what it's all about. So it's kind of, I guess this is kind of hoping that you know what Dune is all about. I don't. So for me, this could be an abstract game. It could be a game about planets. It could be a game about space warfare. It could be a game about settling these planets. I don't know what it's about. It's just sci-fi. Just sci-fi is not really good enough, is it? So it's not working for me. This one is a C tier. Tells me nothing. And that brings us to number 14, which is one of the best board game covers of all time. Definitely an S tier. And again, it's one that doesn't really attract me, but definitely this sold many copies on the basis of this cover alone. Those giant mechs and people out, you know, ploughing the fields, just getting to work, farming around this industrial mechanized thing. I mean, the whole game was based around this artwork. The artwork came first, right? That's a rare thing for a game. I mean, it is stunning. It is beautifully done. But it didn't particularly attract me. Nonetheless, I'm going S tier just because, yeah, there's no debating it. This sold the game. Twilight Struggle, beautiful cover. Absolutely love this cover. Didn't particularly enjoy the game, which I know is sacrilegious to say. It just wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. Various reasons. But the cover's great. It looks, it's so sort of stark and stylish and stylized, and we've got our avatar in the center there. We know who we are. It's got so much intrigue to it. Yeah, I think this is gripping, this cover. Really attractive. I think this is S tier. Twilight Struggle. Really good cover. We're getting there. We're getting there. Number 12 is Great Western Trail. The first cover to Great Western Trail is very grey and washed out, and no emotion on the faces of these people, and they look slightly artificial. It's a bit odd, the drawing on this one. I can understand why they chose to change this cover. There's nothing very appealing about it, and I know the game was a huge hit, but I can't see that this cover will have done anything for it. I mean, we know who we are. We're a cowboy, presumably. That's about it. That's about all I'm getting from this cover, really. But we're not a Wild West shooty cowboy, are we? We're something a little bit more placid than that. Second cover, much more beautiful, and I think it sells the theme better. Okay, yeah, we're cowboys in the sense that we're out looking after cows. Okay, yeah, again, not shooty cowboys. We're cowboys out looking after cows, but this is a beautiful image. And it's got framing, which sometimes can be a little bit awkward, that top and bottom framing with the widescreen snapshot across the middle. But I think it works here because of the the really bright colours in the centre there, that sort of letterbox approach. I like it, the second one. The first one is C tier, and the second edition is a B tier. B tier for Great Western Trail 2nd edition. Okay, number 11, Through the Ages, a new story of civilization. So this is a 2nd edition of Through the Ages, and they have doubled down on putting historical figures on the box. That's something I moaned about in the previous edition, saying that it made it look educational. And I still think that is sort of the case in this one. We've got Shakespeare here and Napoleon and Caesar and Einstein. It's a little bit on the nose, you know. And I still think a Civilization game with 7 Wonders cover would be better. But nonetheless, this does look more modern. They are nicely drawn now. Okay, it's all right. It's okay. We'll go B tier. B tier for Through the Ages, a new story of civilization. I say that through gritted teeth because the first one annoyed me so much. Not the game, the cover. Number 10, War of the Ring. What? Epic battles in Middle-earth. Okay, good. It's about battles. I'm getting that. We've got a Nazgul, the Witch King of Angmar, I guess that is, riding on that fell beast and attacking somebody on a horse. But you've got to look quite close to see that. Again, it's quite brown. What is it with these Lord of the Rings games and brown framing around all the edges of it? It's quite busy. It's hard to spot what's going on. I don't love it. I don't love it. I'm going C tier for War of the Ring. Well, this one's colourful. Bright and colourful and intriguing. And I guess if for a game about spirits, that works. We've got these water creatures and stone creatures. And then there's one that's kind of made of, what's that, grass and earth. There's one with a rat on its head. One made out of fire. Yeah, I think that's quite beautiful. It's quite a beautiful cover. I don't know whether these are the avatars. I don't know whether we are the spirits or whether we are fighting the spirits, or, I mean, we're going to an island full of spirits. Maybe we're the people on these ships. It's a cooperative settler destruction strategy game. Okay, right. So we are the spirits attacking the settlers, I'm guessing. That's a nice twist. If that's the case, then this cover is doing it. It's telling me what's going on. An anti-colonization game. Is that what it is? Is that what it is? I'll have to look it up afterwards and find out. I've got friends who've asked me to play this. I should take them up on it and play Spirit Island with them. I've avoided it because I don't tend to like cooperative games all that much. Nonetheless, I think if this game is what I think it is, then it's selling itself well, and I'm going to call it an S tier. Number 8 is Star Wars Rebellion. Another Fantasy Flight game. This one, I don't know. I like Star Wars Imperial Assault's cover very much. Star Wars Rebellion kind of looks like it's trying to be everything. And that is what the game is, of course. It's trying to be the whole thing. The whole trilogy. Not just the trilogy, the whole set. The Journal of the Wills. All of it. All in one big box. It's not called Journal of the Wills anymore, is it? It's called the Skywalker Saga. Okay, when I was a kid, it was called Journal of the Wills. Anyway, it does say that. It looks like a movie poster. But I'm not getting it. All I'm getting is Star Wars. This is a game about Star Wars. That's it. And that's not quite enough. I need it to separate itself out and say what it's doing differently to the other Star Wars games. So I'm going to call this one B tier. Beautifully, beautifully painted, as always with these Fantasy Flight games. Next up then is a remake of Terra Mystica. This is Gaia Project. I didn't like the cover for Terra Mystica. Gaia Project, this is better. Yeah, this is a better cover. We've got our avatar there. It's almost that first person again. We just need to pull him back a little bit further, so we've just got the hands in there. Okay, but we know we are this person in this spaceship. Presumably we're some sort of god or something, because we're creating this planet, I guess. We're using our technology to build this planet. I'm assuming, I don't know. I've played Terra Mystica, I haven't played Gaia Project, so I'm just guessing that's what we're doing. Yeah, I mean, it's nicely drawn, isn't it? The colours are a bit garish. I don't like the font. It looks a bit dated. So I like the concept of the artwork more than the actual execution of it. I'm going to call it B tier for Gaia Project. Okay, where are we? Number 6, which is Twilight Imperium 4th edition. Well, this is a big upgrade on Twilight Imperium 3rd edition in terms of the artwork, and Twilight Imperium 3rd edition was already pretty good. Okay, what I like about it is the epic scope of it. Look at it. There's everything going on here. Spaceships and human warriors and lion warriors and people in green bubbles and weird blue alien creatures and, you know, explosions and burning suns and, oh, what's that, like a little insecty alien. I mean, it just looks massive in its scope. This is epic. And that's exactly what I believe Twilight Imperium is. I'll never find out because I'll never play it. Not my style. Nonetheless, this is S tier. This is a stunning cover. Absolutely stunning. Great stuff. Twilight Imperium 4th edition. This is pleasing that the top 10 is so good. Such good covers in the top 10. Okay. Terraforming Mars. Yeah. I don't love this cover. Not really. It's very orange and earthy colour, isn't it? I suppose it's supposed to be clay or something. Well, it's Mars, the red planet. There we are. Got it. I just understood it. It's the red planet. And we got these people crawling about in the dirt, planting the first things, I guess. Oh, I mean, that's not really what it's about, is it? Terraforming Mars, isn't it? Got more scope than that? Planting those first seedlings. I don't know. I think you could liven this up, make it a bit more dynamic. It's so passive. I think it's a bit dull looking, frankly. C tier. C tier for Terraforming Mars. Disappointing. We were doing so well. And Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. What do we think of this one? What do we think of this one? I don't know. Quite like it. It's quite intriguing. Got these various weapons and items. That's all it is, really, isn't it? It's just a bunch of items laying on a table with the chairs around it. Quite like that. The map in the middle there. It's almost like a board game table. I think that's what's appealing to me. It's making me think, oh, this is like a bunch of people are going to sit down and they're going to map this out. And it's almost like they're going to sit down and play a role-playing game or something like that. I like it. I like it. It's very brown. We do like our brown board game covers, don't we? This is very brown, but nice. Nice composition. Yeah, I think it's good. I think this is an A tier. A tier for Gloomhaven. Jaws of the Lion. I was really impressed with Brass Lancashire, wasn't I? Brass Birmingham. That is a picture of a puddle in a cobbled street in Birmingham, isn't it? Is that what it is? With a broken wheel. I mean, if you can take a picture of a puddle in a cobbled street and make it look exciting and enticing, then well done. You're doing well. And that's what they've managed to do. This is a beautiful picture of a puddle in a cobbled street. Doesn't tell me anything about who I am or what I'm going to be doing. I guess they're going on context and reputation because this is a game that's so well loved. Does look something quite industrial about it, which is of course the theme of the game. I'm not sure it's selling the experience of the game, but it is a beautiful piece of art. So I'm going to go B tier for Brass Birmingham. Number 2 on the top 100 list is Pandemic Legacy Season 1, and I've already talked about Pandemic Legacy Season 0 and Pandemic Legacy Season 2. And Season 1, it's really good all over again. It's really good. Look at it. We've got our avatars right there. We know exactly who we are. We're these people with the masks. And this was before the real life pandemic, when seeing a person in a mask on a box would be quite, ooh, dangerous. Whereas now, of course, that's just real life. That's just what you see if you look out your window or out your front door. But this is really nice. I like the art style. I like the... Again, have we got a sort of clock motif going on there? What's this sort of arc going down here with the little dashes in it? Certainly we had a clock in Season 0. It's dynamic. Everybody looks like they're in a rush. It looks like a movie. I like the colour. I like the horizontal box. Great stuff. S tier, Pandemic Legacy Season 1. And then finally, number 1 on the Board Game Geek Top 100, and it's Gloomhaven. It's more gloom than haven, isn't it? This box has never done anything for me. Who are we? Are we the people? Are we the person in the middle? It looks like somebody, a woman, is it, imprisoned by these two bigger folk? Or are we the bigger folk? I don't know. Why is it all red? Is it on fire, this thing? I can't make out much of the detail. It's busy as well. It's so gloomy. Such a dirge. Oh, it isn't doing it for me. This. I have nothing against the theme, the fantasy theme and all of that, but no, I prefer the Jaws of the Lion cover to this. This is C tier. C tier. And what a shame to finish on that. I'm sure I'm wrong about so many of these things, so please tell me where I'm wrong. Please tell me where I'm right. Please tell me which of the games that I haven't played I should be playing. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video. If you didn't enjoy the video, subscribe anyway, because they're not all like this, I promise. And yeah, make sure you comment, make sure you like the video, and I'll see you next time. All the best.